Alright, 7th graders, lesson 81, using proportions to solve percent problems. So here they start us out with a little story. 30% of the class passed the test. If 21 students did not pass the test, how many students were in that class? And to draw proportions, we're going to start learning to use a box that's divided into 6 parts. The reason is, when we're dealing with percents, we're always dealing with 100%. So this is kind of the total down here. So we're going to put 100% down here. In this story, we read that 30% of the class passed the test, which means we can solve that. This would obviously be 70%. So 30% passed, 70% did not pass. Now, the actual count, if 21 students did not pass the class, how many students were in the class? We have 21. We want to know this number right here. So what works out well here is we have the 3 other numbers that we need. This 30% is really an unnecessary number. We don't need that. What we're looking for is this right down here. So if I take my proportions and I say 70 over 100 equals 21 over question mark. So that 70 is on top of 100 here. 21 is on top of the question mark here. I can now solve this problem. And again, we will now cross multiply and then divide. 21 times 100 is going to be 2,100 divided by 70. And again, take off the 0, and 7 will go into 210 30 times. So that means there's a total of 30 kids in the class. Now, if you wanted, you could go back up here and say, well, 9 then passed and 21 did not pass. But the key answer here is that there are 30 students in the class using cross multiplying and dividing. Example 1 here. We have 40% of the students at Lincoln Middle School do not buy their lunch in the school cafeteria. So now that we know what the pattern is for these types of problems, I always like to get the boxes set up right away. You know this is going to be 100 down here. So I can start with 40% and they do not buy. So they do not buy their lunches in the cafeteria. If 480 students buy their lunch, so they do buy, and that was 480 over here. So I should need to put my percent symbols over here so I don't get confused. If 480 students buy their lunch in the cafeteria, how many of the students do not buy their lunch in the cafeteria? So this is the numbers that I've been given. Now I know that this is going to be 60 because 40 plus 60 is 100. And the number that we're looking for is how many students do not buy. We're not looking for the total this time, but we're looking for how many do not buy. So I can make my proportions again over here. I've got 40% over 60%. I'm going to be using these 4 numbers equals a number I don't know over 480. Okay. So again, I'm going to cross multiply and then divide. So I'll do 480 times 40, which would be 19,200, divided by 60. If we punch that in our calculators, we come up with 320. So 320 students do not buy. It's always good to ask yourself again, does this look like it makes sense? This is 60%, this is 40, so this is a little more than half, a little less than half. So this number should be a little bit more than this number, and that seems to fit into the picture. All right, example 2. Again, I'm going to make my box even before I start reading it, and I'm going to put in my 100% down here. Now I'm ready. In the town of Centerville, 261 of the 300 working people do not carpool. So I've got a total of 300. 261 do not carpool. So what percent of the people do not carpool? Well, using math over here, I do 300 minus 261, and that will give me 39. So I want to know what percent do not carpool. That means I'm looking for this number right here, and I've got these three other numbers here to make a proportion. So I'll have question mark over 100% equals 261 over 300. Okay. Again, I can cross multiply, or diagonally multiply and then divide. So 261 times 100, that'll be hang on. They want to know what percent of the people carpool. So, well, we can continue on here. That'll be 261. Doesn't really matter. I probably should have found this number up here, but I'm going to find this one first, and then I can subtract to find that. 26,100 divided by 300, and I can do the mathematics there to figure that out. And doing those mathematics, I find out this is an 87%, which means this will be a 13%. So 13% of the people do carpool. And then B, according to the census data, approximately 13% of the working people in the United States carpool to work. Do the carpooling statistics in Centerville reflect the national carpooling statistics? And I'd say yes, they do. Since nationally it's 13%, and in Centerville it's also 13%, it's a perfect example, a perfect reflection of the national statistics. Alright, finally example 3 here again. Make my box, divide it here, put 100 down here, and I'll read it. After a difficult spelling test of 40 four-syllable words, Chris was relieved to learn that he had misspelled only 6. There's a total of 40 words. He missed 6. So correct would be 34. What percent did he spell correctly? So what we want to know is we want to know this number right here. What percent did he spell correctly? So I'm going to put down here, I know these two numbers. So I'm going to put 100%, and I'll put the 40. And then I'm looking for these two numbers up here. So I'll put the 34 over the 40 and the question mark right here. And then again, I can diagonally multiply and then divide. So I'll have 3,400 divided by 40. Put that into my calculator, and I come up with 85. So he got an 85% on his test. Means he missed 15%, because 85 plus 15 will equal 100. So he spelled 85% of the words correctly. That's it for today. 7th graders, you can get started on your practice set.